No punchline this week. I had chocolate buttons in my mouth before we did our 10 seconds of silence for audio sync. And I realised I can't chew because I'm near the microphone. So my mouth feels like it's just filled with chocolate right now.
When has that ever stopped us before, Chris?
That's very true. But it's not usually chocolate. Oh!
Well...
Hello, boys and
biscuits.
girls. Hello. That's what you call them. Hello, boys and girls. Welcome.
Hello.
To the Bonk Donk Snonk.
Say what now?
I don't know how words work. I've just come back
say
from...
what now with you?
I've just come back from press night of Robin Hood. My brain doesn't make sense anymore.
Yeah, I'm not surprised, man. You must be exhausted.
I long to die.
Why?
Because... I'm sorry, more chocolate. Because...
Okay, that's fine. You got to eat when you can.
You got to wheat when you can. You've got to yeet your meat to the beat.
Oh, please don't.
In the words of Luigi.
At least not in public, Jesus.
No, I'm good. It was a good show, but I'm just... it's been a very, very long week this week. And what I need right now is a doctor.
Well, you'll be getting one on New Year's Day.
Yay! Because now we have 10 episodes and no no festive special like a New Year's Day or a Christmas one. Once again, we've lost an episode.
It's okay.
Thanks, Obama.
It's okay. It's going to be okay, Chris. Don't worry about it. It's just, you get what you get and then you fucking like it.
You get what you fucking deserve.
It's how we deal with our governments. It's going to be how we deal with our Doctor Who.
Well, in the spirit of that,
yes.
My name is Chris. I hope you all registered to vote, Johnson.
My name is Matt. Why the fuck would you vote for the Tories, Watson?
Haha! It's great because on my walk to... we're going to get political here, guys, for a very brief moment. Sorry.
Oh, no. What a shame.
What a shame. But make our views plain. You don't have to agree with them. If you don't, that's fine. But also, do think about things. It's very clear from how we've already spoken on this thing that we would very much like the Conservative government out of the UK now.
Yeah, not even out of office, just straight up out of the country.
Just time to pack away.
Yeah.
But on my walk to work currently, I go past several windows where they've got those Tories out posters.
Nice.
In the window. Thing is, Lincoln has traditionally been a right-leaning town overall.
Yeah.
And since becoming a university city, it has kind of become a lot more liberal.
Funny that.
Yeah, and it's yeah, and it's only in recent years has it become a Labour majority government. Yeah. So there's a lot of animosity politically here, to the point where in the Panto we don't do any political jokes.
Cowards.
Well, last year I didn't write any into the script because I was like, politics was plaguing everybody day to day all the time anyway. Don't come here and hear us rabbiting about it.
Like, what are you going to do in a panto where, like, it's so broadly aimed at families? Like,
well, we're doing Robin Hood, so we could do loads on taxes.
Well, that's true.
But we don't go that far, unfortunately. But every time I walk past the posters, I misread them. I keep thinking it's for those who don't know, it's just like a red square. And it says Tories, and then underneath it says out. And the out is of a bigger font to match the size of the word Tories. I always misread it as oot. And it just becomes the most Scottish poster I've ever seen. Tories, oot!
Well, that is also a very Scottish sentiment, so that's
get to fuck.
Get to fuck. Indeed.
What should we get to fuck this week, Matthew, in this podquest?
Well, we've got a couple of trailers for some tasty projects coming up. We've also got... I'm going to round up the BBC's latest sci-fi drama debacle. And we've also got...
Spoiler alert, Bowel Streck fans. It's not Doctor Who.
No. And also, we've got... in honour of our 180th episode...
180.
We're gonna have a look at some topics that we've kind of 180'd on since we covered them last. Some things that we've changed our mind about over the course of the last 180 epistles of the Big Damn Cast.
Epistles,
But first-
golden epistles.
Yeah, well, do what you can, don't you?
Well,
Fucking hell, my cats have gone mental. They're just chasing each other around the living room.
do you know why?
Why?
They want the Tories out.
They want the Tories out.
Oh, my Tories out. I want him
Yeah.
dead. I want his dog dead. I want his friend dead. We made up a game in the green room this week where we were being like non-committal mobsters. So
Okay.
so it's like you know the classic thing of like I want him dead. I want his family dead. I want his dog dead. And you got that kind of thing. Instead, they can't quite go the whole hog. So it's like I want his jelly babies minus the red ones. You know, just that kind of not quite vicious enough. I think this has become a get. These are things we do to make the time pass more calmly.
Things you do.
It's like, I want his thumbnails always slightly hang-nailing. I want his bunting to have matching colours numerous times.
You're losing it, aren't you?
I want one less candle on his birthday cake every year. I want him to think he's aging backwards like Benjamin Button.
Stop, Christopher. Just let it go.
I want his dog to poop somewhere slightly inconvenient.
Don't burn all your best ones. You'll have nothing left for the dressing room.
I leave my dressing gown open, folks.
Oh, God. Well, enough.
Do you know who else leaves their dressing gown open? Let's see him do this segue, everybody. Here we go.
David Harbour's Red Guardian, the Black Widow trailer.
I will accept that. Do the judges accept?
The judges have no
brilliant.
choice. The judges have no choice but to accept.
Please, he has our family.
There are many wonderful things that the trailer for the upcoming Black Widow solo film gives us, but none of them top David Harbour's ridiculously bearded and looking like he's having a whale of a time, bear-like Red Guardian. This movie looks pretty cool.
Yeah,
It looks-
it's especially it grabbed me because Winter Soldier is still my favorite MCU movie.
Yeah.
So it's a bit more of that like hand-to-hand close combat, like espionage stuff. I'm all for that, and it also appears that the theories about it being set after Civil War are correct, because it seems that Secretary General Ross tracks down Natasha at some point. It's like, okay, we need you to do something. Come over here.
Yeah, so it should be be interesting to see where it fits into the Marvel oeuvre, but it looks pretty cool. We get a glimpse of the new Black Widow, the Yelena Belova, as played by Florence Pugh,
Which makes me happy because that character is such an enjoyable twat in the comics. So it's going to be interesting to see how they use her in this.
Definitely some animosity there. Get a brief look at Rachel Weisz and a quick look at Taskmaster. She's not a design I'm
very brief, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not a design I'm 100% sold on, but we'll see how it pans out.
Some of the on-set photos were a little clearer, and it kind of looked like a retooled Iron Man armor.
Yeah, which makes a bit more sense.
Yeah, because we were shown funnily enough, in Civil War that the Iron Man armor can adapt to other people's movesets. So that could be how the MCU does Taskmaster, whose power is like learning and adapting to every fighting style so that they can counteract it.
Yeah, it's a pretty good. It's a pretty good way of getting around it without getting too comic booky. But then Marvel movies have never really been afraid of getting too comic booky, so
But they also like to use what tools they've already got as well to kind of
there's an
shortcuts.
internal. There is mostly an internal consistency to the logic of the universe that helps it sort of gel together, which is nice.
As long as it gets a cape, I'll be happy.
Okay.
Just give him a big old cape, a big old sword, a big old shield, and a big old bow and arrow, and I'll be happy.
I see. I'm not going to be satisfied unless we get Buccaneer boots, and I know we're not getting Buccaneer boots. So
We can dream, or we'll go in and we'll edit it so that in every frame you see Taskmaster's legs have got Buccaneer boots. # release the Buccaneer boots cut.
I may be satisfied if Red Guardian gets Buccaneer boots, but we'll see. I may be swayed. But yeah, I mean, it looks like a Marvel movie. It's female. It's too late. It should have been three or 4 years ago. But it should still be a good time at the cinema. So I'll await that with bated breath, as I will also await, but with not quite as bated breath, No Time to Die.
Sony can't cut trailers to save their damn life.
No, they cannot.
This is a terrible trailer.
However,
I
am looking forward to seeing Lashana Lynch completely own it.
Yes. Oh God, yeah. Yes.
She looks brilliant in this.
As 007.
Yeah.
But wait a minute, 007 is James Bond. 007's his rank, motherfuckers.
It's a code name,
He's no longer 007, get over it.
Yeah, he's still James Bond, he's not 007, so don't worry about it. Daniel Craig might actually be invested in this one. We'll see.
I think the timing of this is definitely based on the fact Knives Out did really well last week.
Yeah, I saw Knives Out last week, and it is very good.
I'm going to catch it on Monday, I'm really excited.
There's definitely I think there's definitely a desire on Daniel Craig's part to move towards more character roles.
Yeah.
As opposed to leading men roles, and I think Knives Out's a great vehicle for that.
There's a bit of comedy from Bond in this trailer, which suggests that he's at least managed to get that going. Just little touches of it, especially the delivery of James Bond. James Bond seems to be very much a laboured kind of, oh God. Like this guy got me to say it. Yeah.
I mean, I'm desperate for something to make James Bond interesting again. At this point, I'm not even sure I need to qualify it with again, just to make James Bond
became
interesting.
James Bond did become interesting again. It was called Jason Bourne.
Oh yeah, okay.
So there you go.
It was called Skyfall.
Yeah, well, yeah, I do love Casino Royale, and I really like Skyfall.
Yeah. Quantum of Solace is dog shit, and Spectre is.
Spectre's got some good stuff, but then it's like, hey. Do you remember this from the old ones? And it's like, that is not important.
I would like less sexual mistreatment of women in this.
Yeah, or at least highlight that he is a fucking pig.
Yeah.
And like, really make a thing of it. James Bond is cool in a way, but he's also not a good person.
Yeah, so I would hope that Phoebe Waller-Bridge, because she's worked on the script, will have brought some of that out, but it's difficult to tell from a trailer like this. And as you say, Sony aren't great at cutting them, so we'll see what happens when it finally comes along. Yeah,
if you want to know the plot of the movie, watch the first minute and 40 seconds of the trailer.
Yeah.
If you want a teaser trailer, watch the last 30 seconds of the trailer.
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty much it.
I mean, who doesn't want a car with miniguns in the
it is nice to see the Aston Martin DB5 again, because it made, obviously, a big old cameo in Skyfall.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool that they've gone, sod it, he's got it in a garage, let's use it. Hang on, he blew it up. It got blew up in Skyfall.
Well, it's a new one then.
Oh, bloody hell.
It's an old one.
Just keeps a bunch of them, doesn't he?
Yeah, probably. He's got them in they're his safe houses. They're in his safe houses.
He rents them off a knackered old Scotsman who lives in Spain.
Yeah.
Yes, you can have my car. I don't mind. It's barely used. What do you mean, do I love Scotland? Of course I do. That's why I live in Spain.
I think Scotland should be independent. But I live in Spain.
Yes. Did you know I turned down the role of Gandalf and Morpheus, but it's okay, I accepted the role of Alan Quatermain in the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. I think I made the right decision. And by right, I mean the worst decision imaginable.
You made a poor decision.
I love that he passed on Lord of the Rings because he was like, oh no, that shoot's too long. And he passed on the Matrix because he just went, I don't fucking get it.
I don't get it.
I don't want to do this.
I don't get this.
But I get this because I've read these comics you sent me. Do I get to sleep with a sexy vampire lady? No, that's not in this film version. Oh. How long's the shoot? About a month. How much am I getting paid? More than enough. Okay, I'll do it.
A lot.
This will be a hit. It's got Mr. Hyde in it or some shit. I don't know. Did you ever read The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen?
I've not read League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
It reads better. It's because it's Alan Moore in it. It is Alan Moore. Very Alan Moore-ish. It's very Moorish.
It's very Alan Moore-ish.
And the book is miles better than the film. But at the same time, it's also not incredible. I think it was because it was just snatched up in that late 90s, early 2000s boom of let's pick up these smaller titles that have cult followings and do whatever the hell we want with them.
Well, people just like Alan Moore. Like, straight
except
up,
Alan Moore. Alan Moore hates Alan Moore. And the works of Alan Moore.
Well, you know.
I said to Sean, I don't mind you taking the role in the film, but you know I won't be watching it. And he said, yes. And I said, yes. And I said, are you having a stroke? And he said, yes.
Oh dear.
So yeah, that's your comedy, folks. See what we did there. We did some improv.
Well,
so that makes this a comedy category. So there we go.
Comedy is
subjective. Subjective.
Yeah, because it's a strong word for what you just did. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, comedy is subjective, Matthew. Do you know what else is subjective?
How
faithful an adaptation has to be?
No.
Do you see what that was? That was a segue.
No, I don't think it's about how faithful an adaptation has to be. I think it's about how good an adaptation has to be, which is to say...
Things don't have to be good.
But things should be good.
Shouldn't be good.
And if they're not good, what you shouldn't do is try and sweep them under the rug for between 8 to 6 months and hope nobody notices when you finally squeak it out. In the wake of a much awaited adaptation of another
squeak it out
well loved book. Listen, the BBC are knocking it out of the park with his Dark Materials. Which I think is why they put their 3-part War of the Worlds adaptation in its shadow, because I think they hoped no one would pay any attention. And I don't think anybody did, because if they did, they probably fell asleep halfway through the first episode. We've talked about this. We've talked about my feelings on it, and it didn't get any better.
It wasn't anywhere near as good as, shall we say, this.
It was nowhere near as good as that. It was nowhere near as stylish as that.
Copyright! Okay, that's gone now.
I mean, we've talked a lot about how, you know, the faithfulness of an adaptation does not equate to its quality.
Absolutely not, yeah. You can play, you can talk.
Yeah, exactly. But if you're going to make changes, at least make the story good. Which is what they failed to do in any sense with this. Like, it's just a bunch of characters that you don't really care about. You know, there's a relationship at the centre of it which you don't really care about. They keep jumping ahead to a future time period, which just sucks all the momentum out of the story whenever they do it, and they do it way too much. To the point where, by the time the end of the last episode, by the end of the last episode, I was just like, wait, what was the story again? So I just watched an adaptation of War of the Worlds, and I came away from it saying, what was the story again? So you fundamentally failed there. It's a shame, because it's a really good cast, but none of them really have anything to do. And yeah, it's just... It's full of, like... It's full of nonsense. I don't like saying plot holes, because that's a term that's overused for things what I didn't understand about the plot. But it's full of things that just don't make any sense, shall we say.
Yeah.
And not in a, why does this character do this? Because character motivations don't have to make sense. They just have to be consistent with the characterization, but more in the sense of like, wait, how did this happen? I'll give you a wee example with some spoilers, right? So in the last episode, right, so in the future segments, you've got George Jr., who is the son of Amy, played by Eleanor Tomlinson, and George, played by Rafe Spall. George is not present in the future segments. It's implied that Amy is still looking for him.
Yeah.
But then in the last episode, you find out that that not only is he dead, but she knows he's dead. She watched him die, but she's just kind of forgotten about it.
What?
Like she's like, oh, I forced myself to forget. I think I couldn't admit it to myself. It's like, okay, cool. But anyway, there's a whole thing where in this future, which is like a blasted, arid landscape overtaken by the red weed and sort of a grey sky. Please don't. If you keep doing that every time I try and explain everything about the War of the Worlds, we're going to be here for 3 hours.
Yeah, but we'll also sing along with Jeff Wayne tracks.
True. But please don't. No. If you do that again, I'm hanging up on the call.
I'm a tripod.
A what?
I'm a tripod.
Self-praise is no praise.
Not my penis. I have a vestigial tail.
So...
That, folks, is the sound of a man who's well and truly done with this shit.
Enough.
Out damn spot.
Control yourself. Getting tired now. You're getting frisky.
Yes.
This is why you should get a good night's sleep all the time. That's why we don't record this late. Fucking hell. Oh. So in the future sequences, George Jr. gets deathly ill.
Oh.
Or seemingly deathly ill, and it's implied to be typhoid. And then it turns out Ogilvy survived the first episode because he turns up in the future sequences.
This is Robert Carlyle.
He's like, yeah. And he's wearing like this sort of
future suit.
No. He's wearing this sort of flap of fabric on it that's hung off his glasses. So it's just supposed to like evoke the idea, those World War One prosthetic masks that come with horrible facial injuries.
Yeah.
But it's just like somebody's stitched a bit of leather to his glasses. So it's just Robert Carlyle wearing flappy glasses. And then he's like, oh, I think it was our diseases that killed off the Martians, but it hasn't killed off the red weed. So I'm going to take cultures from your deathly ill son and experiment on the red weed with them.
What?
Which is, and it's like, oh, it kills off the red weed. That's fine. But then they can't convince the local church leader, who's the leader of the local community, to let them. I think there's something going on with plague in the village, but then they never come back to it. And then also, George Jr. just miraculously gets better later on.
What?
Like, it's implied that he has typhoid, and he just gets better.
What?
In this future world where no one has food or medicine.
Right, okay, so... in the original, the book and other adaptations, the common cold kills the Martians because they're not prepared for it.
Not just the common cold, just like earthly diseases that we are either immune to or aren't lethal to us.
Earth dirt.
Yeah.
Stinky earth dirt.
Because they drink our blood.
Yeah, and part of that is that the red weed just kind of eventually brittles away, isn't it? And it just gets
for the same reasons.
Yeah.
That the red weed is vulnerable to earth bacteria and fungus and such.
But in this version,
you have to directly apply human diseases to the red weed to kill it.
So they've decided that needs to take longer to add unnecessary extra drama of, the Martians are gone, but the weed is still here.
Yeah, I guess.
But the weed is not as engaging a threat as a presence. It's more of a cherry on top.
It's like little red moss, and then it turns into crystals and turns the ground red.
Yeah.
And nobody can grow anything because the red weed won't let you grow anything there. Apart from in the churchyard, they can grow things in the churchyards because the rotting flesh of the people buried there kills off the red weed.
Yeah. Okay. So basically what they've done is they've gone, right, so we've blown up the Death Star, but do you know what would be really scary? If they still have, like, just a couple of speeder pilots to fight. Like, just those guys from Jedi, but they've not even got their speeders. Do you know what I mean? They're just there.
Yeah.
It's like, but we'll have to get rid of these guys. It's like, you got rid of the big threat. Dramatically, there is nothing to do now.
It's a 3-hour miniseries that's paced like a 10-hour season of television.
God.
To the point where nothing happens for most of the first 2 episodes, and then everything happens in the last half hour of the 3rd episode.
Christ alive.
It's a fucking mess.
Who greenlit this shit?
I'm trying to think of something nice to say about it, and I'm drawing a complete blank.
Did it look good?
Not particularly.
Did it smell good?
I mean, I don't have that particular technology available to me, but I'd imagine not. It doesn't look like it smells good. It looks like James Franco looks like he smells.
Oh, he does look like he smells.
Yeah.
He really does.
Well, we did an episode.
Yeah, because he looked like he smelled.
What does James Franco smell like? I know, because I was going through our old episodes over this last week to double check some things, because it's episode 180, Chris.
Episode 180.
And although we are traditionally infallible and
unshakable
beasts, arbiters of truth,
arbiter beasts,
we do get things wrong sometimes, or at least change our minds about it.
Yeah, like opinions develop and shift over time, and one is privy to looking back and thinking, do you know what? Actually, now that I've thought about it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this is some stuff we've done 180s on.
Yeah, boys and girls, strap in!
Do you want to go first, or shall I go first?
Do you know what? I will hit your first with my best shot, because I'm going to take us back to 2016.
2016. I bet this is the same thing that I've 180 on.
It could be. It's a very early Big Damn Cast topic.
Yeah.
In fact, if I remember correctly, it's episode 3.
Yeah.
Now, we're going to get people from the past going, really, lads? Like, were you shills? Or really, lads, were you just trying to be progressive? No. Back in the year of our Lord, 2016, Matt and I went to see a motion picture called, at the time, Ghostbusters.
What's it called now?
Ghostbusters Answer the Call.
Yeah.
And, funnily enough, I was in HMV today with Lucy, who came to visit me because she's an absolute goddess and I adore her. Even if we saw each other for like a sum total of about 5 minutes over the course of 2 days, it was just nice to have her there.
It happens, man. It's a pain in the ass.
Every now and again, I woke up in the middle of the night because I never sleep exactly perfectly when I'm away from home. Like, it takes me a few weeks to get to that point. And every now and again, I just wake up in the middle of the night and I'm like, oh, bloody hell, it takes half an hour to go back to sleep, and then I do. Last night, I woke up, was like, oh, turned to my left, saw Lucy, was like, oh, I'm home. Yay! And I fell asleep again. It was great. So I've told her to send a life-size pillow of herself with just her face on it, plastered all over it.
Oh, you need a custom body pillow.
Yeah, but not like shaped like a whole body, just her face just printed all over it, like some kind of fleshy homunculus. Oh, God.
That went somewhere I didn't want it to go.
Hey, don't kink shame. This is my Sonic OC, don't steal.
Okay.
So, with the call on DVD for £2.39.
Woof.
Yes. But the DVD version has like an extra 15 minutes of, and I have seen some of it, garbage material.
I mean, that's
like
the
really bad material.
When we get down to it, we did mention this when we reviewed it, but on further viewings, it's become more and more
video.
apparent.
Yeah.
Like, there is too much shit in that film. Like,
but here's the thing: if you want the theatrical cut, if you just want that pure theatrical cut, like the one we saw in cinemas, you have to buy a 3 DVD / Blu-ray box set called Ghostbusters: The Collection.
What?
Which has Ghostbusters, Ghostbusters 2, and Ghostbusters 2016, as it's called in that box set. That's the only way to watch the theatrical cut.
That's bonkers.
So if you enjoyed it in the cinema but don't want all the extra chuffer that made the home video version more unbearable, you have to shell out for a massive box set.
Because I think that's...
But in HMV at the minute, it's about £5, so treat yourself.
That's the thing that I've 180'd on about it, is that originally I was like, yeah, there's some jokes that don't land, but, you know, it gets better as it goes on, and
there's some nice characterization in there, and the cartoony designs of the ghosts are quite fun. They're very much like the real Ghostbusters in their look and feel, and you know, that's nice and different. I mean, you even have the one that vomits all over them, like before at the opening, feels kind of like one of the toys where you'd like squeeze the legs and its mouth would go.
Yeah, one really of the haunted humans, perhaps.
Yeah. And the gratuitous cameos of Slimer and Stay Puft do kind of feel unnecessary, but they at least, you know, look good. So it's like fair enough. And
I think
and there's certain things we liked. We discovered Kate McKinnon through that film.
Yeah.
Who is just going balls to the wall weird with it, and as a result sticks out as a character.
I mean, still far and away the best thing about the film, even after reassessing it.
Yeah, but here's the problem of hindsight with that. I have since watched a lot of things with Kate McKinnon in.
Yeah.
And Kate McKinnon is great. I can now watch other things.
With
and as a
Kate
result,
yeah.
can separate her from Ghostbusters 2016 and realise that really, this isn't very good at all.
No.
Now, it has its strong points, and I do stand by a lot of what we said. But on reflection, and especially considering we are now on the cusp of Ghostbusters Afterlife dropping its first trailer.
Oh, yeah.
We are able to look at Ghostbusters Answer the Call as the fuck happened there? Instance.
I think the thing that annoys me most about it on reflection is how much of a waste of potential it was. Yeah. Like how you got a great cast and a director who'd done great work previously. Because Leslie Jones
is like underserved, but she delivers some absolute brilliant moments in it.
Yeah.
Like, I still to this day quote one bit in it, which is okay, have a nice day with your crazy ass. Like, I still quote that every now and again.
That doesn't surprise me.
I'm seeing someone out of a room, I'm like, have a nice day with your crazy ass. Like, she's really good and is underserved by a script that just asks her to shout in various scenes. And
I think the problem is there's just not enough of a script and too much of people fucking about on set. And not enough of an editor.
Thanks to Red Letter Media's their review of it, but mostly the Plinkett review and a couple of others, I got to learn a bit more about the behind the scenes in a way that I didn't know going into the film.
Yeah.
And Kate Dippold and Paul Feig co-wrote the script. They have both written and made some really good stuff. This is not a good script.
No.
But also, only about 50% of that script is on screen. Because the rest of the film is just improv from these, genuinely funny actors.
Yeah.
But it's just...
well, that's the problem.
The thing is, if they went on set and Paul was like, right, let's do a version of the scene, and then let's do a version of the scene where you play around, and then after an hour they're like, okay, good, let's move on and get a different shot, then you might have some really concise comedy. But, turns out, there were some days where they just rolled for like 5 hours and they all just like dicked around, multi-camera setups, and then they'd go away and have lunch, and then they'd come back and dick around a bit longer.
Yeah, and I think it's the problem with a lot of like improv heavy movies, especially comedies.
Yeah,
is that the cast get carried away having fun so badly that they forget to make the movie actually fun.
And then the filmmakers look at all the dailies and go, "Oh my god, didn't we have such fun? We have to put this bit in."
But then it's like the "you had to be there" joke, but it's a film of that.
It's ultimately down to the editor, which is usually also the director or working with the director, to make something that works really well out of all that material. It's totally cool. Go absolutely improv a thing. Like, there's plenty of stuff that is purely improv and works really well. I mean, Curb Your Enthusiasm, they have a structure so they know what and where they're shooting, but then they just shoot. And it's some of the funniest, most bizarre, spontaneous, cringy TV ever made. And it's really enjoyable as a result because you just know that everyone's creative synapses are firing and they're going for it. And they know their characters inside out. These characters aren't fleshed out at all.
It's the Anchorman problem.
Yeah. It was Erin wants her tenure. Abby wants to prove Erin wrong. Holtzman is there.
Yeah.
And now so is Patty. She's also there. Look, they've got a hot secretary, but he's a bit dumb. It's just like, okay.
Yeah,
and
I think it was interesting because it was a big it was at that point Kate McKinnon's highest profile film role, probably Leslie Jones's highest profile film role as well, and it was the first time we'd really seen Chris Hemsworth do comedy, and now we've seen Leslie Jones do more. We've seen Kate McKinnon do more, and we've seen Chris Hemsworth do more comedy. We've even seen him do more comedy with the role that he's most known for.
Yeah.
So it just seems kind of redundant.
Yeah, it's a redundant piece of... And made even more so by the fact that it's been ignored. And that the story of the original will carry on.
And I would have liked to have got a sequel that fixed some of those problems. And I think Paul Feig definitely learnt from that because his next film, A Simple Favour, was much tighter narratively.
Yeah.
And from the look of it, from watching it, it seemed like there was a lot less improvisation and more focus on an actual tight script and, shooting the script. So
I'm happy the film brought a lot of people joy. Like, I'm absolutely happy it pleased a lot of people. And I think the people that got so wound up about it need to take a step back and think about their life.
Yeah, the problem with this movie isn't that it's a bunch of female Ghostbusters. The problem with this movie is that no one with a sense of pacing or what's actually funny got anywhere near the edit.
Yeah, that's its biggest quiz. And as a result, like, on reflection, it is a redundant movie. And the more I've thought about it, the more I've gone, actually, I gave it too much leeway there.
Yeah,
I gave it too much slack there.
I was too nice about it.
Yeah,
I think because I wanted it to succeed, but it didn't.
Yeah. So there you go, you whiny
That's your first
babies. We didn't like it. We don't like it now as much as we did then.
Yeah.
Enjoy. Feel free to go back and be like, in the future, in the comment section, in the future, you guys go hate this shit.
Yeah, it's fair. It's fair. You're not wrong.
It's a fair one.
Well, there's something that we covered fairly early on the Big Damn Cast that I've not only 180'd on, I've 180'd on again, and then at least once more since 180'd on again. So
Holy shit biscuits.
I've at least 540'd on this.
Oh god.
And it's the subject of an early rant of mine that people found quite amusing. And that's Pokemon Go. Now, anyone who knows me knows that I love me some Pokemon. And I speak as a man who is so sadly deprived, currently, of Pokemon Sword and or Shield, because I don't want to Switch.
Hey, turn it over and turn around now. Oh, sorry, I heard the word Switch and I have to start that song.
We need to get you some professional help, Cocker.
Ooh la la la.
I think you need some assistance with your impulse control.
Oh.
Now put it away. So
it's so moist.
Then it shouldn't be moist. You should wash that and then go to a doctor. So the thing with Pokemon Go is that as a concept, I like it, but in execution, it just falls short. And every now and again, I'll give it a couple months or whatever, and then I'll pick it up and I'll go, "Oh, they've made some improvements." And then I'll spend another month or so with it, and I'll be like, "Yeah, but it's still kind of shit." Like, it's an intriguing game and an interesting concept, but there's just not enough there to get your teeth into. And every time I come back to it, I'm like, oh, I can get into this, I can give it another chance. And it disappoints me all over again. So I've gone from, like, despising it when it first came out, to then being quite keen on it, to then being completely burnt out on it, to then being interested in it again, to now the point that I've just... What am I doing with my time every time I boot it up? It's, yeah.
I can tell. Once in a blue
I've done
moon,
multiple
like,
circles on Pokemon Go, let alone 180. Yeah, because I'll go on it for a day or two and then be like, you know what, I really can't be asked. When I go out of the house, I just want to walk to where I'm going. I don't want to stop every 2 minutes, spin a thing, tap the massive screen in my phone 85 times, and then get nothing for it. Because that's essentially what I'm doing. Like, it doesn't feel like there's any sort of progression or permanence or anything sort of interesting going on at the core of it beyond, oh, this is a Pokemon, what I know. I'm going to look at it. Look at the Pokemon, what I know.
Look at that Pokemon, Matt. Look at it.
Yeah, it's a Pokemon one. So yeah, I've done multiple 180s on Pokemon Go, and I wish it would just go away. And the thing that pisses me off even more is that they've taken that formula and just crammed it into all sorts of other shit. There's a Walking Dead Pokemon Go style game. There's a Harry Potter one. There's a Jurassic Park one. And now they're doing Minecraft Earth, which is some sort of AR location-based thing.
Wait, sorry. There's a Walking Dead one?
I believe so, yeah.
Why?
I don't know.
Why do you want to go out into the world and find zombies? That doesn't make any sense.
I mean, I don't even know why The Walking Dead is still around. Like, it's just fucking... It's the dullest TV show. And I've watched some TV shows that can make you fall asleep. And I'll watch them quite readily and quite acceptingly. But fucking hell, it is just the dullest shit. I've watched a lot of daytime TV in my time. Like I could take a bargain hunt marathon over a single episode of The Walking Dead any day.
Yeah, because by the end of it, you at least don't know for sure if the thing's going to sell or not or whatever. Like, whereas Walking Dead, you're like, we're all going to hobble along, and then someone's going to randomly die toward the end. And
oh wait, I don't care. Yeah, so that's disappointing.
Oh, I'm sad you're not enjoying it.
Disappointing.
I've stuck with it since 2016, and I'm now part of the thing where I'm fighting Team Rocket bosses who are grossly overpowered compared to me, which is really annoying because all my top guys are all in like the late 3000s of combat power, and these guys are in like the 9000s. I've been playing it consistently since May 2016, and I'm like, if I've been playing that long and I can't defeat them, how the hell is anyone else meant to do it?
I don't know.
It's really weird.
I really don't know. It boggles my mind how anybody in that game gets to the points they are. Like when I'll go up against the gym, when I'm picking it up and then someone's got some fucking 9,000 CP Dragonite. I'm like, not only do you have a fucking Dragonite, I mean, I've finally got a Dragonite now as well, but how the fuck did you get one at that high CP?
Yeah.
Where are you getting all your Stardust from? Where are you getting all your candies from? But yeah, and I mean, all the things that they've added to it since, like the trading, the multiplayer battling, all that stuff, it's just so incremental and so shallow. It just fails to keep me coming back.
Probably a bad time to mention that I'm planning to do a live stream of it for one of our Twitch channels at some point soon.
I can believe it. People will watch that shit.
People will battle, good sir, kind sir.
It's like when a lot of new people tuned in for your Contest of Champions. Like,
yeah,
it's weird had the following mobile games.
We got a spike. It was like, what the heck is going on?
I don't understand it because mobile games in general, I definitely run hot and cold on, and I come to and go because I played a bunch of Contest of Champions and I played a bunch of Transformers Forged to Fight, which is the same thing but Transformers.
Yeah, Transformers.
It's the same company that
Game
they're all
another one.
They're all Kabam games.
Yeah. Sorry. Could you rephrase that? They're all Kabam game.
They're all Kabam game.
Yeah.
Yes. They are all the Kabam game.
Maybe the Kabam game was the Kabam game we Kabam gamed along the way.
Go home, you drunk.
I am home. That was fast.
Oh. So yeah, it's the Skinner box thing. It's like I am just putting time into this.
Aye.
That isn't particularly fun in the hope of a reward, but I'm not actually enjoying the action of playing it. But I'll let myself get sucked into it, sometimes for months at a time. Like I went down a really, really dark hole with the Marvel Future Fight.
Yeah.
Partly because there were parts of it that reminded me of Ultimate Alliance.
Yeah, so R.I.P. Because let's face it, the Switch one's not the same.
No, I hear it's pretty good though. And you know, that was an itch that would later be scratched by Marvel Heroes Omega, however, shortly.
But you platinumed it, so yay!
No, I nearly platinumed, one trophy away from platinum in it.
Oh, sore spot, guys, sore spots.
Yeah, yeah. You had to bring it up, didn't you? You had to fucking bring it up.
Well, if there's any consolation, I'll never platinum Arkham Origins because online is not a thing.
I'll never platinum Arkham Origins because Arkham Origins is shit. You heard me.
Go home, you're drunk.
I meant it as well.
Oh god.
Oh man, that game's fucking garbage. It's like you can tell that the Arkham City team didn't make it because it feels like Arkham City, but everything's been moved an inch to the left.
Yes. Oh god. Yes.
So everything just feels slightly wrong. Like all the timing just feels slightly off. But yeah, back to the mobile games thing. It's like it's not that it's not the free to play thing. Because I play a shit ton of Warframe and I played a few other free-to-play games on console because they're games that are actually fun to play.
Yeah.
But the actual act of playing the actual act of playing Pokemon Go, the actual act of playing something like Contest of Champions, it's so unsatisfying to me. It's so shallow that it's difficult for me to make... I get that loop of reward, which is sort of satisfying, the Skinner box effect. But then every time I go back, that lasts less and less. It's like the opposite of addiction, where every time, addiction, you need more and more to cope. Every time I go back to one of these mobile games, I need less and less to get to the point where I go, I just need to step away from this because it's empty calories. It's empty gaming calories. It's just making me get fatter, and I'm not enjoying the taste. So why am I bothering?
Wait, have you just been eating the phones?
Well, nibbling the phones.
Do you know what I did once?
What?
Drank the Kool-Aid of a certain movie, which we've never dedicated an episode to. But we have absolutely talked about from time to time.
Okay.
As a kid, I was all for this thing because it was the first new one of something that I loved.
Oh, yeah.
And I was just happy it existed. I trolled Argoses throughout the land to find the one character whose figure I didn't get, which I really wanted, and then eventually found them. And it was like one of the best days of my 8-year-old life at that point. As I got older, I realised the film's a flaming piece of shit. But I've gone back around.
Oh, interesting.
Star
Carry
Wars
on.
Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, is not a good film. But 28-year-old me thinks it is, brace yourself everyone, the best of the Star Wars prequels. Now, I spent my teenage years thinking, oh god, why did I like that film as a kid? This is ridiculous. And I realised the reason I liked it was because of the PS1 game, because of the Pod Racer game, because I had a bunch of the toys and they were really cool. Because as a kid, I thought Darth Maul was cool. I loved puppets, so Puppet Yoda, of course, was a special treat. I thought he was amazing. He looked nothing like Yoda, but he was still a puppet, and that was cool.
This is why you need to watch The Mandalorian.
For some tiny baby Yoda. But I hate it, because of course I did. It was a cool thing to hate the prequels, and it still kind of is. And
Yeah.
they aren't great films, guys. Narratively and performance-wise, they're not great films. And they will be dated as hell as the technology evolves and changes over the years. But, I think the worst prequel is Attack of the Clones. Because it's the most mockable, it's the most ridiculous, and it's the most painfully performed by everyone involved.
I mean, Attack of the Clones is garbage, but I will say that there is fun to be had with Episode 1.
Absolutely.
And I think Revenge of the Sith is the closest any of the prequels come to being a good film.
See, and here's part of the 180.
Okay.
Yeah. I too thought that Revenge of the Sith was the best of the prequels, but now I think it is Episode 1. And
okay, I can fuck with that. That's
oh baby. Well, I won't kink shame, but people obviously go like, but Jar Jar Binks. Yeah, sure, okay, fine. Anakin randomly choking his pregnant wife. Which would you rather be watching? I'd rather watch the stupid rabbit man be weird for a moment than watch Anakin strangle his pregnant wife for no reason.
That's definitely more fun than watching Anakin strangle his pregnant wife.
But also, like, Star Wars, and again, this is going to annoy some people. The kids' films, guys. The kids' films.
Yeah. Yes.
And I don't think Revenge of the...
Yes and no.
Oh, for families, absolutely. They deal with mature themes, but kids' stuff isn't necessarily like, hi, everyone. Well, like, it's, you know, it's where kids' entertainment is entertainment that is just aware that younger viewers are watching it. So it takes certain precautions or holds back on a little on certain things. And I feel like Revenge of the Sith forgets it's a kids' film. Like, I get the dark turn, we need to show Anakin's push, but we didn't fall in love with Anakin over the course of the previous two movies. At least with Jake Lloyd in episode 1, you get, and this isn't a slight on Hayden Christensen per se, but at least in that you just get adorable little kid who, if you know the original movies, you're like, oh,
no,
he's going to be, whereas the others are, now it's the story of pre-Vader. And I'm like...
Such a huge part of the marketing campaign for the first one was that poster of Jake Lloyd with the shadow of Vader behind him.
Yeah.
Like, that was the image for episode 1.
Which was great. And again, Darth Vader isn't the main character of the original trilogy. He's the enforcer. He's the dog's body to the villain. And that's what's scary about it, because in the first one, he's the antagonistic presence we see the most of, but we know he's answering to someone above him. In the second one, it's really hammered home that he's literally just the lapdog of the greater power. And then the third one is where we realise that, actually, now we know a bit more about him, maybe he can help turn things around. And that's fine. Like, Vader isn't the main character, but his prominence is clearer the further the story goes on. Whereas the original trilogy is like, hey, everybody, you are here to see Vader. And it's like, are we though? Because once the second and third ones kick in, it just becomes the story of Darth Vader, and that's fine. And that's certainly some of the stronger stuff in a series of films about trade disputes and, you know, clone factories and all this stuff. But at the same time, what Phantom Menace does that the other two prequels don't do is tells an adventure story with new people. It doesn't feel like it's just trying to set up stuff for later. It's like, here's a story. Like, Anakin being Vader is just a little thing that, if you know, you know. And they can play with that a little. Yeah. But this is, and Obi-Wan's in it, sure, but he's not the Obi-Wan we know. He's the most different in this than he is in anything else. You know, he's the quiet rookie who's listening into his teacher and following his instructions. We meet Qui-Gon, who, admittedly, is a bit of a waste of what Liam Neeson can do, but is still one of the more kind of memorable characters from the prequels, because he's the stoic, peaceful, like... You know what I mean? He's very much this is what a Jedi's like. Qui-Gon is the closest in all the prequels to like, oh yeah, that's kind of it. Because the rest of them are just these boring people sat in chairs getting a bit grumpy. Whereas Qui-Gon's out there kicking ass, but also being like very zen and all that stuff. It's like, okay, I get it. The design of episode 1 is by far the best of the 3 films in terms of how things look. Naboo and the people of Naboo, the royal dress, the handmade costumes, it's like, this looks amazing. The pod races, the pod race sequence.
The great thing about episode 1 is that all of that stuff is real. Well, not all of it, but a good chunk of it is real. It's real sets, it's miniatures, it's models, it's practical effects. Whereas 2 and 3, particularly 3, it's almost entirely green screen.
What I need you to do is I need you to walk forward 4 steps and then turn and say the line.
Well, it's part of why 2 is aged so badly. It's like there were no clone trooper costumes made.
Yeah.
They were all just CGI'd
onto
Tamura Morrison. It's an experiment. It's not a film.
Yeah. Whereas the first one feels tangible.
Yeah.
It feels like it exists. Again, certain CGI is age, but that's just part and parcel for the thingy. But you can't tell me that you don't remember Boss Nass. Well, that is a memorable character.
Yeah, for better or worse, you remember Boss Nass.
Through the planet core. Who remembers Dexter Jetster?
I remember Dexter
Or
Jettster.
that weird shape-shifting assassin who doesn't shapeshift, and that isn't part of their assassination technique in Attack of the Clones. They're a shapeshifter, they can be anyone, but they wear a mask. Alright. What's the point then in them using that ability if they literally put some bugs through a window and wear a mask? It's like, why introduce the fact they're a shapeshifter? Oh, it's because George wants to do a shapeshifting effect.
Listen, bounty hunting is a difficult profession, and you've got to use whatever you can to get the edge. And sometimes that means ignoring your natural talents.
You know what?
Because that's what people expect you to do.
It's because she was taking death sticks on the job, that's why.
Well, do you want to buy some death sticks?
You don't want to sell me death sticks.
I don't want to sell you death sticks.
You want to go home and rethink your life.
I want to go home and rethink my life.
Okay, admittedly, clones have some good quotable moments, but...
But the thing with clones is it's goofy.
Yeah.
And it's goofy in a
bad
way.
I don't think so. But also Phantom Menace has Maul, who gets a job done with barely any dialogue. And you're like, yep, get him. Totally get him. There he is.
Yeah.
He's the then enforcer for this mysterious
Well, I hope you
figure.
did get him, because you then continued to get him
God, I know.
in ancillary spin-off media.
Isn't it hilarious that they were like, hey, Solo, hey, look, he's still alive, hey, and that's never going to go anywhere.
No, well, that's the thing. If you've watched either of the if you watch the cartoons, you know where it goes.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of...
But it's really pointless because people watching the films will be like, I don't get it. I thought he was dead. And that's all that's ever going to happen now. And it's like, what was the point in that?
Yeah, I wonder if they'll pick up... If they'll do something with the plot threads from Solo. Obviously not as a film, but if they'll do something with
Like
it
in
some other
Obi-Wan
spin-off
maybe,
media.
but...
Or in...
But the thing is, his and Obi-Wan's final face-off happens
That's already happened
shortly
in
before
Rebels,
A New
yeah.
Hope, in Rebels, yeah.
Yeah.
So you can't have
So
them have their
it's-
final confrontation because they have it later in the
Unless
timeline.
you just redo it in live action.
Yeah, but if you redo it in live action, then Ewan McGregor has to play Alec Guinness and not that halfway between version.
I think anything that they do with Obi-Wan now will be more towards the Alec Guinness end of the scale than it will be the Episode 3 end of the scale.
That's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
I don't think... Yeah, I mean... Ewan McGregor's not that much younger. I think he's like a decade younger than Alec Guinness.
Darth Maul, that's
Was?
a pair of legs I haven't seen in a long time.
And neither have you.
How are your legs, Maul? Oh, wait, I cut them off and they fell down a shaft.
I'm sorry, the more appropriate question is, where are your legs, Maul?
Oh, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
God, Grievous fighting 3 is so bad. He should have just Indiana Jones'd it. Had Grievous do a bunch of swishy stuff, and then Obi-Wan just shoots him with a blaster in the face.
I know it's bad, but I still like it.
Yeah.
And episode 1, I know it's bad, but I still like it. Whereas episode 2, it's bad and I hate it.
Yeah. Episode 1 as well, best score, I would argue, outside of the original trilogy, best score.
Yeah, I'll give you
from
that.
Star Wars
I'll
film.
give you that. I know. I think the sequel trilogy scores have been better than the prequel trilogy scores.
I don't think they're as memorable as Phantom Menace though. I mean, god damn those hooks. Like Naboo, the celebration music, just
The Rey theme and the Resistance theme are pretty strong, I think. Really.
Oh yeah, Resistance theme especially. But is it?
No, but there's a version of that's been done in the TV spots for Rise of the Skywalker, which suggests that's in the soundtrack for that film.
I popped into the Entertainer today, and
Did you know?
they don't do. And I realised this: they don't do action figures for Rise of Skywalker. There's some upcoming Black Series figures, but that's it.
I mean, I'm sure we've touched on this before, but the Entertainer are a good 18 months to a year behind what should actually be on their shelves.
True, but it made me realise I hadn't seen any in the wild at all yet. And that's really weird, because just before Last Jedi came out, there was shitloads of the Last Jedi figures.
Yeah.
Do you think it's because of how many peg warmers there were after that film? They've just gone, let's hold back.
No, because I have seen some new Star Wars figures, but they're just generically Star Wars branded.
Yeah.
And not Rise of Skywalker branded. Like, There's the cartoony style Galaxy of Adventure ones.
Yeah, they're based on the
things like
costumes
that.
from Rise of Skywalker, but I mean the 3.75-inch ones.
Oh yeah, no, I know. I maybe they're not doing it.
I'm wondering if because of the peg warmer incidents from the last one, like how many they made and how many just didn't shift. Like, I'm wondering if they're just waiting till the film comes out and then going, right, that character, they're wave one, put it out in the new year, let's do it.
Mind you, that being said, I know there's a peg warmer issue, but I don't remember seeing a huge amount of.
You haven't been into the Entertainer in Lincoln.
Well, that's true. I've been to the Entertainer in Manchester Arndale, and that place is just
barren.
Yeah, I mean, they still got Premier Edition Transformers: The Last Night figures on the shelf.
Yeah, same with the one in Lincoln. Oh,
like
God.
those are figures from a 2017 movie.
Yep.
As well as the newer Studio Series stuff. They've got, like, Studio Series Thundercracker has become a shelf warmer.
Thundercracker and Starscream were at this one.
Yeah. They cannot shift Thundercracker for love nor money.
It's because he sounds like a pair of pants.
Oh.
What have you done a 180 on, good sir?
Well, the other things that I want to talk about are not so much things that I've changed my opinion on, but they're things that I was excited for and was
subsequently shat upon.
Disabused of the notion that I should have been excited for them, or vice versa, actually. So I want to talk briefly about American Gods and how an incredibly strong first season gave way to a second season that was so weak that I threw in the towel on after 4 episodes.
Oh God, yeah, you did jump ship pretty early in.
I was just like, yeah, I can't do this. I don't want to do this anymore.
I don't want to do this, Mr. Wednesday. Please don't make me do this.
I don't like what they're doing with it, and I'm just, you know what? I'm not going to stick with it and hope it gets better. I'm just not going to watch it because I don't care. Because I've read the book, and the first season was good, and now I just don't need to bother, really, do I?
Yeah.
Just get rid of it. And
in the bin. Get to fuck.
Yeah, and the same thing. I didn't even make it to the end of the first season of Preacher, which was something I've been quite excited about and was optimistic on early on. Again, something we covered early on in the Big Damn Cast. It was just didn't even get to the end of the first season. Just not interested, to the point where it's finished. It's finished now. They took it. They took it to the end, and I don't care. I don't care. That's what they did to me. They stopped me caring about Preacher. By the same token, but the reverse of the token, how skeptical was I about the Watchmen series when it was announced?
Oh, so skeptical. You were like, this could not possibly work, like, beyond some visual elements maybe being interesting.
I think it might be the best TV show of the year. Hot damn. It's fucking brilliant. I'm 7 episodes in. There's 2 more to go.
Call the Popo and the Fireman.
Man, that episode 7 just goes places. Like, it is a show that absolutely does. It's going for it. It is going full tilt. And you should check it out. And I think it's taught me a couple of things about not prejudging things. Because if I'd have, even after those first trailers came out, I was like, this looks interesting, but it'll probably be really kind of dull and only tangentially related to the original. And then it just came out swinging.
Hot damn.
And it came out swinging for the fences, and it's been just every episode's just been wow, fuck, what? You doing what? And it's pretty bold TV in terms of what it's doing with its source material, and well, I'll put it this way: there's 2 sequels to Watchmen that are due to finish before the end of the year. One of them is a Watchmen TV series, which so far has been. I could do another 180 on it in a couple of weeks.
You never know.
But so far,
they could crash the landing.
So far, it has been astounding, just brilliant TV, like arresting and engaging and
Sexy.
provocative, a little bit sexy.
A little bit
Not too
sexy.
sexy.
The right amount of sexy.
It's not as right now and sexy as something like Class.
Speaking of.
But I'm not finished. The other one that's finishing is Doomsday Clock.
Yes, which has been about 5 years in the fucking delivery.
Doomsday Clock has been one of the biggest wastes of time and talent DC Comics have produced in the last decade, at least. Like getting Gary Frank and Jeff Johns to spend 2 years doing 12 issues of a sequel to Watchmen, which has absolutely nothing interesting to say. It's got, and it's not even got anything resembling a plot. It's just a series of things that happen that are seemingly unconnected. I mean, there is a narrative in the sense that things happen in a somewhat linear order, but at no point do the various disparate threads actually come together in a way that's meaningful. Now, I've only read up to issue 10, so issue 12 is out in, I think it's next week, maybe the week after. So those last 2 issues could fix a lot of the problems, but again, similar to something like American Gods or Preacher, the TV shows, it just completely, the course of getting there just completely killed my interest in seeing how it concludes, because it's beaten whatever interest I had in it out of me through being so dull. Like it's just lazy. It's like, you remember when Marvel used to be like, oh, we won't, that when we cross over the Ultimate and the 616 universe, we'll have run out of ideas. And they eventually did it, and it wasn't because they ran out of ideas, and it actually worked. But this is just like, what, we'll take some Watchmen characters and then put them into the DC universe, and what? And then you see, but it does, and it's like, it's not a sequel to Watchmen in that it actually picks up on ideas that were in Watchmen. It doesn't follow up on the themes of it. It just feels like, oh, what if we do that, but with DC Universe?
Yeah,
we'll put Ozymandias in the DC Universe and see what happens. Oh, look, the comedian's back. What?
Because reasons.
Dr. Manhattan's been fucking with time. But why?
Because reasons.
Whereas you take Watchmen, and the more the HBO series, and the more I watch it, the more I'm like, this is actually a really, really smart way of continuing
the Watchmen story.
Yeah, and it's all very logically thought out and methodical, and it makes sense.
Yeah. Whilst also being a nice jumping on point for people who've never read it, never seen an adaptation. Yeah. It's just like, here's a story. Here's what it means.
Whereas, like, the first thing, one of the first things that happens in Doomsday Clock is a bunch of characters escape the Watchmen universe as it's being destroyed and jump into the main DC universe.
Bleeding hell.
So they literally just throw the Watchmen universe away. It's like, okay, everything interesting about that universe that would be worth exploring in a sequel, we're just not going to do that.
It's gone. Like, not only are we not going back there, it's gone forever.
Well, it's not that it's gone forever. It's that the universe isn't destroyed. It's like, as nuclear war breaks out and New York is annihilated, basically.
So, just a weekend disruption.
Yeah,
they can go back whenever.
And it doesn't actually pick up on characters that you might be interested to know more about. Like, I don't know about you, but I would be curious to know what happened to Night Owl and Silk Spectre after Watchmen.
Yeah. Oh god, yeah.
Doomsday Clock does, as far as I'm aware, Doomsday Clock doesn't touch on them at all.
What's the point then?
Just completely ignores them. It's about Ozymandias, a new Rorschach, and Marionette and Mime, who are updated versions of old Charlton characters who are Dr. Manhattan villains. Well, they're versions of old Captain Atom villains, so technically they're supposed to be Dr. Manhattan villains, but they've also been sort of pastiched in modern DC comics with Punch and Julie.
Yeah, and Tom King's run on Batman.
Yeah. I think they popped up somewhere before that as well. But it's it's just not interesting. And are they related to the Joker somehow? But how? And also Dr. Manhattan's here, but he's there, and what's going on? And there's a freight, like they do the Black Freighter thing with like a noir film.
Yeah.
And then it's like, and the actor in the noir film knows Dr. Manhattan, but it's just a mess. It's just all over the place. Whereas the Watchmen TV series it's slick and
shiny,
concise, and it makes sense, and it's everything you wouldn't expect from Damon Lindelof if you got turned off by his work on Lost. It's satisfying.
Yeah,
it's incredibly satisfying in a way that past Lindelof projects haven't been, in a way that Doomsday Clock isn't. And so it's one of those things where I'm looking back on how skeptical I was about it now and thinking, yeah, I just kind of need to take a take a breath before I write things off. And it's also why I'm more and more it's why I'm more and more reluctant to sort of make big judgments about something's quality before it comes along. I'm trying to be more optimistic about things in general, and I think that the Watchmen has been definitely something that's been paid off for me with that sort of outlook, because it's just been so strong.
Yes. Good. Well, I'm glad that it's sort of like at least 50% working out, which is nice.
Yeah, I mean, 2 episodes to go to see if they stick the landing, but at the moment,
it's looking like
no wonder I did a 180 on it, because it's yeah, it's good.
It's some good shit.
Right, you Cocker, anything else you want to touch on before we call it a pod?
Again, it's never really been a topic we've dedicated an episode to yet, but I realised in this last couple of years, and again, it's not because it's good. It is a terrible piece of work. It is heavily flawed. It is full of the director's self-enforced fetish. It is inconsistent with the previous entries in its own series. It is insultingly transparent in terms of just serving a purpose of selling toys, right up to the point of the toy designers working on the design of the film. But I'll be damned if I don't put Batman and Robin on and have a damn good time every time I watch it. It is disgustingly a guilty pleasure at this point for me now. Like, it is not good, but my God, I can quote it, I can bathe in it, I can enjoy it for what crappy film it is.
Please don't feel like you have to quote it, by the way.
Oh.
We believe you. We believe you.
That's a shame, because I've prepared a series of my favourite quotes right here.
That does not surprise me.
I haven't. I just know them. But no, it's... Oh, good Lord, it is... I have so much fun with Batman and Robin. I have so much fun with it, because it's so bad, Matt. It's so bad.
See, I don't know if that's technically a 180, because I'm with you. I'm with you all the way on.
Well, I don't know,
one.
because I used to despise it, and now I've got to the point where it's... If you said to me, what do you want to watch? Batman Begins or Batman and Robin?
Oh, Batman and Robin.
Batman and Robin. I love Batman Begins. I think Batman Begins is an excellent movie, and it's a really good year one kind of Batman film. But it ain't.
It's not fun.
It ain't. I'm a lover, not a fighter. That's why every Poison Ivy action figure comes complete with him. Stupid Bane bashes down a wall. You know it.
Oh.
it ain't a striptease out of a gorilla outfit because that's what
Controversial
that's what
statement.
Joel Schumacher thinks his female loving audience want to see for some reason.
Controversial statement. I think Batman and Robin Bane is a better cinematic interpretation of Tom Hardy's Bane in The Dark Knight Rises.
I don't know. Tom Hardy's Bane at least was the calculated mastermind, like he is in Nightfall.
Yeah, but you know what? He isn't.
Well, no, it turns out he's
Interesting
not.
in any way.
Turns out he's a lapdog.
Yeah.
He's doing it because he's pussy whipped, and that's literally the reason he's doing it. He's doing it for love. He's not doing it for
interesting in
love.
any
He's doing
way.
it because he thinks he's going to get his end away. That's why he's doing it. Get his end away with a girl, with a woman who he knew when she was a little girl.
Hey, that's fucking weird.
It is. It
I mean,
is.
who is it? Who does he think he is? Drake?
Oh, topical.
That's going to age poorly.
Oh god, there's another joke there, but I'm not going to say it.
Oh!
And of course, Class. We've both changed our minds on Class, and we think it's the best TV show ever made.
Oh, class. Oh, Big Finish do, because they keep fucking making.
Have you seen the recent news? So there's another.
They're doing more.
There's a series 3 and 4 box set, but again, for legal reasons, it has to be set during series 1, so no continuation. And not just that. This is my favorite part. Not just that.
Stupid, man.
Some of the cast members haven't returned. So they've had to recast them. And I think it was Scott Hancock put a tweet out that basically suggested that, look, we asked them, but if they've got other commitments, we have to carry on. It's like, well, you don't, unless the reason you're putting that tweet out is to make a point of saying, see, people were annoyed that you didn't come back, guys, but... Because
we're gonna do it without you.
It's not the hardest work in the world. I don't mean that there's no skill in it, but what I mean is, like, for them to just be like, we're going to pay you a bunch of money to come in and do a couple of audio dramas over, like, 3 days. Like,
this just in, Christopher Johnson says there's no skill in Big Finish.
No, there is. There absolutely is. But it's just that thing of the fact that they turned that down shows that they obviously probably just don't really want to be playing these characters at all.
Well, like, how boring is that to be like, to just be like, okay, we've got to set it in the gap in between, like, these 6 episodes of TV or however fucking many there were.
Yeah.
8? How many were there?
I think it was 8. I
can't even remember. They're all sort of blur into one melange. It's one very sad blancmange. It's
sad
just
blancmange. That's a great description of Class.
How dull must that fucking be? Because rather than carrying on what you're doing, or even as they do with the Doctor Who stuff, like, yeah, all the Colin stuff, for example, is definitely set in a certain time period, but there's so much room within that.
Yeah, to play and change the setting.
Create your own. Yeah, you create your own little sort of sub arcs, like when with Evelyn as a companion, or later on you have Erimem as a companion, or doesn't Charlie join the Sixth Doctor for a while as well after she leaves the Eighth Doctor?
I think so, yeah. So they get some timey-wimey in there.
Yeah, so it's like, it's like, at least you've got some stuff to explore there, but be like, oh yeah, all of this stuff's got to be set within that first season, and all your characters have to be locked in this sort of loop.
Yeah, they'll never progress. We'll never learn what happened ever. It's like, what's the point? Like, why bother? Unless they really love the characters, I guess they don't have any reason. That would be the reason for them to be like, no, even for the fact that it's just a weekend's worth of work and some easy money, I don't like this material enough to want to return.
What characters are there to love? There's the sporty guy who's not in touch with his emotions. There's the quote-unquote good girl who needs to learn to let go. There's the genius girl who feels like she doesn't fit in. And then there's the alien prince. Like, what?
There's also, was his name Matus, who we were like, he's alright, but he never gets anything to do.
Oh, yeah, Alien Boy's boyfriend.
Yeah. And it was like, he's good, but he'd never really got much to do. And it was like, it's a waste of the actor, because he's quite good in this. And then there's, what's her name? What the hell was her name? The teacher. It was Quill, that was it. Flaming hell. Yeah, she's one of the ones who hasn't come back.
Yeah, it was her and the lass who played the younger girl who was like had moved up a year or two, because that's totally a thing that happens in British schools.
Oh, that's a thing, guys. Guys, that is a thing. That is a thing.
Yeah, it's.
I think you'll find, Matthew, that's your thing.
We got off topic talking about class again. What we doing?
It goes on and on and on and on and on. I love living in Spain. Scotland. I love Scotland.
Oh, God.
Don't let anyone tell you any different, Matthew. I love Scotland.
Shall we get out of it?
Shall we? We could, I suppose. But before we do, we do have to point something out, Matthew.
What's that?
That you lot can get in touch with us anytime you like. bigdamcontact@gmail.com. We do have some emails, but we're going to catch up with them probably next week or the week after based on what's going on.
It'll be the week after, because next week's episode, we're going to give you a rest, Chris, because next week's episode we've pre-recorded.
Yeah, is it that one?
It's that one.
Oh, that'll be fun. Okay. Shantae. But if you want to hear from us and in turn say words in our direction that we'll repeat back to you, bigdamcontact@gmail.com. You can also tweet us anytime at BigDamCast. You can find us on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, SoundCloud, wherever you get your podcast providers, and also, good sirs and madams, twitch.tv/BigDamStream for weekly regular content from our fingertips to your eyes and mouths. Ears, damn it. What?
Whatever sensory organs you choose to use.
I'm not going to put my finger in your mouth without permission.
Don't. Also, wash it first?
No, it's covered in theatre. I can tell I'm back on the stage. My fingernails are so dirty. Oh my God.
What are you doing?
I'll just collect underneath. Like today, we used the pyros for the first time. So
what collects? What collects under your fingernails?
Dust and musk. We did the pyros for the first time today. So like all the sparklers and all that stuff. And I blew my nose before, and it was all black. Because it's just like all the dust from the pyros. It's like, what?
Are you saying you got a little sooty?
How do you know the nickname for my... Never mind. Boys and girls, we will see you in the future. God help us in the future.
If it happens.
Goodbye. There's red weed everywhere. Goodbye.